All right, I'd like to start by doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which is nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval from previous meeting. You have any comments? We have. Jamie, do you have any comments on that? Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion second, nothing in discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Court. Is this public comment?
No.
Aye.
Any help? Any help? I did get kicked out.
Just give us a minute while we work through this, please.
Log back in.
There you go. All right.
Sorry. Yes, there. Okay, so as of right now, we still don't have fourth quarter. So what you see presented is through the third quarter only. And then has the current fund balance of $78,836. And these are Weston only funds. Any questions on what's presented?
Is that it? Just need a motion of acknowledgement.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Acknowledgement passes. All right, CVB room tax report. I'm sorry, is that?
Good afternoon, everybody. Tim White, 2257 Swan Avenue, Root Mountain. Hope you guys had a great holiday and great New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. We wanted to just kind of give you an update on some of the things that are happening at the CVB. First and foremost, I gave you a sheet that is basically a fact sheet from some data that we pulled from the fourth quarter and wanted to take a look at some of that with you. And then some factual data that we took a look at for 2022 with a few recommendations on some ways to enhance tourism in the Weston area. So if you take a look at the top fourth quarter facts, 16.5% of all the area's total visitors from in Marathon County actually went to Granite Peak last year. So we know that obviously that's a big place for people to come from the outside, but it just obviously confirms it. Wanted to get a little more Weston-y, 1.3% of areas of the area's total visitors were at the Holiday Inn Express. So, John, you're the fifth overall hotel in the last quarter out of Marathon County. Good job. 1.2% were at the American and 1.1% were at the Fairfield. The Greenheck Fieldhouse and the Dales Weston Lanes had 0.8% of all the visitors that came to Marathon County in the last quarter. 59.4% of all outside visitors stayed overnight, which is an 8% increase from last year. So that's good news. Our lodging is getting better and the numbers are getting better. If you want to look specifically at where people come from who visit Weston, the biggest market is Appleton with some Green Bay in there. We can also drill down to all the municipalities that are a part of that market. The Milwaukee area, Eau Claire, the Twin Cities, St. Paul, then Minneapolis, Chicago, the city proper, and then Arlington Heights second, Madison and Janesville secondly, Duluth, you get people from Duluth, actually Mercer is the first, so there must be a lot of transplants from Weston that come back to Mercer. Iron River, Michigan, Rockford, Illinois, and St. Louis, Missouri. So, and typically with the data shows that the more affluent the municipality, the more money is spent in your area. So Minneapolis, for example, would beat people from St. Paul. And then for last year in 2022, I want to just kind of point out a number of things. First and foremost, Weston experiences a 0.2 to 0.3% visitor to resident ratio. That means that for every tourist versus every resident, you have typically 0.2 to 0.3. So I have a little note there. If you're a tourist town, which Weston is not, and there's really no tourist towns in Marathon County, you might see a 1 to 1.5 tourist to resident ratio. If you go to Minocqua, you'll see that. If you go to the Dells, it's probably 8 to 1, I'm not sure. But if it's above 1 or 1.5, you'll find that residents start to experience some stress in the community because, you know, they're kind of overrun by tourists. So in a town of, what's the total population, 15? Something, right?
16,000.
Yeah, 16,000. Your biggest month was 0.4, about 6,000 people in August of 2022. And we looked at the 24th and the 25th of August was the biggest 2 dates of visitor to tourist ratio. So I tried to look up what was happening in Weston on the 24th and 25th, but I couldn't find anything. So maybe somebody else can find it. We want to tell you a little bit about your visitor patterns as well of the people that come. 30 to 41% will be here and be in accommodations. So any ways that you can continue to enhance your lodging options, that would be great. 19 to 28% of visitors that come to Weston are doing some kind of sports activity. So of course the field house and possibly outdoor events or races are ways to enhance Weston. 12 to 17% medical or healthcare. 11 to 15 for food. It's not really seen as a food mecca, but you get a steady flow of people. And then 8 to 12% are here for outdoor rec. And that would be the main go-to fact, I think, to focus on. Outdoor rec in Marathon County is the #1 draw to the area. In fact, we're branding ourselves this year as Wisconsin's outdoor base camp. Base camp is a place to get those kind of comfort amenities and then to go out to the adventures that are nearby. And so I would, look for ways to advance this in the municipality of Weston. Maybe working with private groups, clubs to provide sustainable opportunities. The entire Marathon County area has 30 to 38% visitor using out in the entire. The Great Pinery here that's going to come with the Eau Claire River, that's going to help. But any other things that we can think of as a community to really kind of enhance the outdoor rec possibility in Weston. It's sustainable. It's usually cheaper to put those kinds of things together. And people are coming, in Marathon County for that very thing. So the more things that we can do, the better. One of the things that we're working on currently is we're working with Wausau Events, who does a Winterfest. And we would like to take Winterfest to all. Go down. Back and forth, and that they need to do it somewhere else, So we're talking about that. They're very open, Wausau Events, to sharing that whole thing and working together with municipalities. We're having a shoulder season advertising and marketing campaign coming up in the spring and March called The Great Nearby, where we'll be marketing to a lot of the areas of these origin markets that we talked about, a marketing campaign. Come here for a overnight trip for 2 or 3 nights and play outdoors. If the weather's bad, we'll give you ideas about what's great indoors, and we're calling it The Great Nearby. You'll see some billboards that will be in Green Bay and Madison and the Milwaukee area as well running. And we'll share that kind of stuff with our advertising and marketing. So a lot of other things coming up, but just wanted to kind of share some of the statistics and, thank you for your support and, any questions that you might have.
Oh, good report. Thank you, Mr. White.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
So go ahead and move to acknowledge the CBP report.
No, motion.
A second.
Sure, I'll second it.
Anything in discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next. PC Everest Youth Baseball application. That's what we got.
So thanks for your time tonight. My name is Jimmy Olafson, 5503 Winding Creek Drive, Weston. I am the president of AC Everest Youth Baseball and also a current JV coach for the high school team. I've coached at the high school level for the last 20 years. Prior to that, I was Division III baseball player, also managed our team sales division of East Bay prior to the parent company selling off that portion of the business. I have 3 kids and 3 in this youth baseball program. I wanted to take a little bit about the Everest Youth Baseball, exciting plans this summer. And Everest Youth Baseball is a nonprofit, a 501c3, dedicated to providing low cost baseball options for kids in our community, ages 4 to 15. Last year, we registered 553 kids in our rec league program, including 50 girls that signed up within our T-ball leagues. We utilize 11 fields across Weston, Rothschild, Schofield, and Croninwitter. Our rec league focuses on fun, low-level competition, development. Kennedy Park is definitely our hub of operations. We have multiple fields there, storage facilities, concession stand. And in the fall, we also have an instructional league. We open it up to kids from all municipalities from the area. Last year, we had almost 100 kids from 7 different school districts. We also share that space with the high school program as well. We have this at our field. A more elite level player that travels to large tournaments across the state, mostly on the weekends. So opportunities at a relatively low cost. We have been hosting tournaments at Kennedy Park for the last 6 years. These tournaments will host either 2 or 3 different age groups at a time. Age ranges from 8 to 14. New for this year, we will be hosting the Cal Ripken Wisconsin State tournaments for both the age groups of 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds. Cal Ripken Babe Ruth Baseball is the charter, the organization that we utilize for our rules and association. It's similar to if you've seen Little League Baseball World Series in the past, it's a similar organization to that. It's just a similar set of rules. There are plenty of expenses to running tournaments, including umpires, advertising, program creation, field maintenance. Most of the field improvements, we work hand in hand with the Parks Department. We fund a lot of that as well, including we put in batting cages in the last year, concession stand remodel, and currently we're reworking one of the fields to create an intermediate sized field. We're actually making that a little bit bigger, so we're putting a bit of our bankroll into that project. We want to continue to create a great experience for those teams coming to Weston for our tournaments. And we have local teams that come, but we also have plenty of teams that come from outside our boundaries, 90 miles plus. And we're here to request $5,000 to help support our 4 tournaments this coming summer, with a focus on certainly the state tournament. We want to make that a little bit bigger and brighter. Are there any questions or concerns?
Where'd Jessica go?
She went to go get a network cord.
It looks like your paperwork's all in order. I appreciate you putting that together and getting it to us and handing this out. Do you have, this isn't your first year doing this?
Certainly not, no.
Right. So you've got 1,000 for each one of the home tournaments, 2,000 for the state tournament. So you've got 3 home tournaments, 1 state tournament for a total of 5,000. What do those tournaments usually cost from past years?
So costs range depending on how many teams are involved, umpire fees, those types of things. Concession stand inventory is often a big difference, but the costs end up being between $2,000 and $3,000 per tournament.
$2,000 and $3,000 per tournament.
But we end up making quite a bit back through registration fees.
Right.
Per team, registration team can be anywhere from $275 per team that coming to our tournament to $400. And then we make money on concession stand.
Okay. Everything's good to me.
I'll make the motion to approve the grant request for 5,000 to DC Little League Baseball for summer tournaments.
Anything in discussion?
Question, when you said we, who's we?
So DC Everest Youth Baseball.
Oh.
We have plenty of people here.
Stand up, everybody. Yeah, who's all here? Huh? It's just, that's quite a crowd, and it's pretty neat, so, but thank you all for coming. That's awesome. Those uniforms look great on you guys and gals. Good, I just had to throw that in.
I guess I got a question. So how many local teams per age division are we normally seeing with some of these being max of 6 teams per?
So about 40% of our teams are from outside our county and from a little bit farther away. Quite a lot of our tournaments end up being Stevens Point, Wisconsin Rapids, Antigo teams come to our tour. But we Sheboygan, Bayport, a number of teams from all over the state. A lot of Eau Claire teams come east to us.
Anybody else have any other questions? We have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. And you'll excuse us, we're probably gonna take off. We have a parents meeting.
Let us know if you need anything else.
All right.
You want these
Thank
back?
you very much.
You want these
Nope, those are for you.
Congratulations.
You make it up. Okay. Thank you.
Gigi's.
Accept this class.
Playhouse.
Presentation, sorry.
Gigi's Playhouse application? Wow.
Excellent, sorry.
Almost anticlimactic there, hold on. Mr. White, is anybody here for, is it Gigi's or It's got to be Gigi's, right?
I don't see.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, Erica should have
Not here.
be here. She knows about the meeting.
Yeah.
Jessica, just, I know you were fixing that, but we approved the grant application for DC Everest. Oh, so
So students.
I wasn't sure which one he is. All right, so the grant application is for $2,000 for the Playhouse for the 5K Glow Fund Run or Walk for June 10th.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Can we table this one and move on to the next one and then I'll reach out to her?
Well, Jessica, is there any problem with the or Mr. White, is there any problem with the application? It seems like they filled everything out the way they should
It's
have.
been reviewed and.
Yeah. I don't see any issue with it.
I have questions about the ability of how many rooms they're actually going to bring to the area.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like this is more of a local attraction.
They're saying what, 184 to 200 outside the area,
That's what they're saying, but
but they only have.
are they just coming up are they driving up here at 8 a.m. and then leaving right as soon as this thing's done, $80?
Yeah.
You know, are we actually getting hotel rooms?
Oh, it's a fair question.
And the other issue was that last time we sort of stated that they needed to be here.
We did.
So, yeah, I'd be willing to table it for now, but
We'll table it till the next meeting.
I don't think it is for something right now. I think it's for the summer events, right?
Yeah, this is a summer event.
June 10th.
It's not something that's,
5K.
I thought.
yeah, the application was made well within the 90-day request. So, I mean, if we table it till next month, you think they'd be able, Erica Erdman? She'd be able to make it?
I can give her a call. I talked
I was
to
just
her.
wondering if you could just skip this one, move on to the next one, and I did message her so that we can see if she can join on remote.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, we'll just table this till, later in the meeting then. Next on the agenda would be Green Heck Turner Community Center application. Welcome back.
Thank you guys for considering this. So I did as the best that I could with what parameters you had asked for, right? Expenses and revenues aren't exactly known, and that's why the large range is there. I can tell you that Rhinelander has a dome and we know what their expenses and revenues are, but a dome has very different heating structures and elements than a steel structure does. So that's where the play with the expenses came in a lot. And again, if it's used a little more and people are saying, it's super cold in here, we gotta bump it up 5 degrees, maybe it's not kept at 60, then it's at 65 or something like that. I mean, it's gonna be a learning curve those first couple of years, which I believe that I had even said in there, we expect year one only 25,000 by year 5 will be considered nearly at capacity. So we do acknowledge that. So I put $75,000 in there, and I can just kind of go through the numbers as to what I was thinking, because I didn't have the quarterly breakdown, which was nicely put into the packet. So in 2022, you awarded $200,000, which is, it's like the was in your packet that I'm going off of. You took in $123,000 that was in your municipal hold account. Of those $221,000, $166,000 came from GTCC. So any request outside of GTCC was $54,500. So after that, so if you year is 2025. But we want to get in front of the table because I think, and I think this financials would hold a little truer if we had, what was older promised already, in 23, then like we could continue on in 25. Just so, for example, in 23, you already know that you have committed for us. In 24, you have X amount. We don't go over. But you do have 122,000 left in your account right now. So essentially you will go over for the next 2 years, but that's designed and on purpose, I think, because you said you had indicated at last meeting that you wanted to run fund balance down to help us out. This is a one-time grant, or the bill was a one-time outstanding request, which is a lot different than the $5,000 from Everseas Baseball and the $2,000 from 5K, right? So I guess that's where I came up with the number. I know it's a little higher than that 68,000. I just wanted to give you, the numbers, play with the range. I also am not opposed to saying 25 you could begin and you could just take the leftovers, like the continuing appropriations could be whatever was left over from the previous year, if you would, to like run down your fund balance to $10,000 or whatever it is that is needed. Again, I don't really know what the best solution is, but we have plenty of time, right? We have till 2025 to figure it out. So I like that 75 just to give you an idea, and I don't anticipate room tax going down at all. So I think that 75 was safe, but with that, ask could go up, they really could. So I feel like 50 is a good number, 75 is a good number, or percentage would be a fine number too. But it's really up to the commission, so we're open.
I think the intent, well, at least my intent with asking you to come here was to help offset your operating costs in the future, to help supplement whatever sports events could happen there. So it might be easier for those teams that are renting, less out of pocket for them. And more for the community, I guess. So it's kind of our way, or my thought of it was to kind of give back to the community. Now, Jessica is bleeding out of her ears over here. I can see it already.
So I know you want to help, but how we can help is the teams that are coming here, putting the heads and the beds in our hotels. Operating costs are not heads and beds. It really doesn't follow the room tax Correction.
Correct.
And I don't
You
know-
do send it to the CVB though, so I mean, technically, then it's already sent to the CVB, which is your room tax authority, so then the CVB would just have to sign off on it, kind of like they use the same funds.
We send it to the CVB as custodian of our funds only.
Okay.
They're the custodian, they're not the receivers of those funds. So the custodians is, well, we are deciding how to hand out those funds.
Sure. I mean, we also could come back with, we went to this conference and got this event, or we marketed this event, and, we ended up landing these 3 events.
And that would
And
be a
those
better
expenses would
instead of
be-
how much
Yep.
costs the facility is.
No, right, they asked for the revenues
That was-
and
that was me.
expenses, which is what I gave.
I mean, you had said this is gonna be an annual deal,
Mhm.
but then the more I thought about it, this will actually be an ask every year, right?
Right, essentially.
Okay, so it won't be something that will be setting every year, cause it could go up.
Yeah.
It could go down, but it's something, there might be 4 more hotels out here because of it too, who knows?
Right.
But I just heard the excitement out of John, hoteliers about here, we talk. That's exciting.
Two is definitely marketing. Right. Put something on marketing to.
I mean, the entire marketing budget essentially could be reimbursed as.
Sorry, Dino?
So is just a question of the specificity of the request?
Yes.
So if
Talking, what do they need from us to come here instead? And then that money can go, okay, maybe just to cut the cost of entry fees or whatever, because that's going to go up like no other for every sports facility, sports tournament. But it gets us those rooms here instead of our competition. I feel like that's where something like this, because then we're using the money just like we use it for all these other things, to bring events here, to build events here, and not offset costs compared to like the running of the building. But offset the cost to bring in tournaments, bring in events that are gonna.
I mean, Dale, at the bowling alley, you could say that 5 or 2 or 10,000 that we've done in the past could be for all different components. Yet, I think it's just a matter of wordsmithing, how this is gonna be used, correct? Okay, so if we get that right, and we have plenty of time to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's huge.
This is a good presentation, Lindsay, because it gives us something to start with here.
Right, so I would say in 24, we could come back and we could say our marketing budget for 25 is this, and list that out. And then, I think because I think you guys I think you want to see what you're paying for, but also know, like I said, in that cost sheet, we designated this much towards GTCC, we have this much left to give to Everest Baseball and so on and so forth, because I think that was the intent. You definitely still want to give to those other organizations that do bring things here. But also know that you are supporters of GTCC with that money. So I think again, maybe 24, and like I said, this is for 25. So I think in 24, we could come with that exact marketing plan, which would then, I believe, it will fall within the restrictions of the room tax commission and room tax fund, if you would.
No, I agree. Go ahead.
Is this, these green hex centers, are these separate entities from the school system, or is this, it's all within the DC Everest School District?
So it would be, I'm here on the DC Everest Education Foundation, which is the 501c3 nonprofit. Our sole beneficiary is the DC Everest School District, right? But with that, we end up, doing grants for just individual classrooms and all different stuff. And this just happens to be our biggest capital campaign that we've ever done. But the DC Everett School District has it's called Fund 80, which is the community services fund within the school district budget. And so Greenhack Fieldhouse currently operates under Fund 80, and this will go in Fund 80 too. So what happens is DC Everett uses it as its own little like revenues and expenses. So it's its own little business nestled within the DC Everett School District. But the Education Foundation is, again, the 501c3 that is fundraising for this and will continue to help that GTCC as well, which is again, what we will do.
So it's basically taxpayer supported, DC Everett school districts are supported by the taxpayers. This is also.
Technically, yes, but realistically, no. Because if you go to Greenhack Fieldhouse, you have a membership or you're renting a quart or you're renting ice or you're paying for something, right? So in the end, that money ends up paying for the lights that are on and the people that run it and all that sort of thing.
Most of Greenhack.
Okay. I also had a question. There was in the packet of stuff here, it said, existing Greenhack Fieldhouse community services personnel and programming will also be responsible for the new Greenhack Center. So that you have is there a separate professional staff that are going to manage these facilities?
Yeah, so we have a program, well, we have an overall Greenhack Fieldhouse director, and then we have program staff, right? They put on the programs that are the hockey, they schedule the gyms, there's a janitor or a custodian that would, be responsible for that space and that space only. Again, that's because the school district chooses as Greenhack Fieldhouse will be its own entity nestled under the district.
These aren't just math teachers or FIAD teachers. These are people that actually are.
Correct. They have a recreation management degree, so that they're in the correct field.
One part of this says 75,000 per year and the other says 75.
Yeah.
75
And I
year.
think that, well, and again, I think Texas is just using that as a placeholder for right now. Going, they don't really know what they're going to be asking for at that point, or if it's specifically going to be this. I think they'll probably have to reapproach that in 24.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, I appreciate you putting this together and bringing it back to us. It gives us something to at least start with.
Yep.
We get part of, what you guys are doing here, how it's going forward, and how we can give back to you guys and help develop the community and help develop what's happening because of it. So. Really appreciate you putting that together for us. I don't think we have to actually make a motion on this.
I don't know. Is it okay to do something that far out in advance?
Well, I don't think we can do that far out in advance unless it's something that there's a dollar figure right now that you're looking to.
We will, so in 23 here, we will start going and marketing to the different, the sports different meetings or clubs or whatever you want to call it and go and say, hey, we have this new facility coming in 24, maybe in 25 you want to join on, or, maybe the Ultimate Frisbee tournament wants to come here and be having the championship in 24, because that would not be responsible if we just opened it up and we didn't have any plan whatsoever, right? So that is starting in 23 here, but there will be no, like you said, there will be no tangible rooms in 23 whatsoever, but 25 is, I started by saying 20, the year of the ass, because the year where room nights will be had in this facility.
Since they are going to start marketing prior to this building being completed, is it out of the question to give them something for what Jessica said? Undercutting some of the other teams to get people to come here for promotional things.
At least earmark, and then that might help sell. That if you have to show all the components on what's happening or how things are getting paid for.
Right.
Showing some of the backup that Weston is participating in,
but
I think it would be helpful.
They want to start promoting, there's going to be some expenses now in 23 and 24 for when they do open up. So they may need some money for that.
So I'd say 24 would be a realistic, tangible, like room tax relation, like, we went and marketed this, we got this event, and this event will bring us room nights. So that would fall under there. So we definitely could look at 24. We would probably come, it would be April or even your summer meeting. But I would like to give you probably April, just to give you the heads up, this is what we're looking at for our marketing going in 24. This is, you know, I don't want to away from anyone else that's happening, but I do know that you have continued added to your pot to know that, you know, that larger ask might be out there again in 24 and 25, I think is just good knowledge to have. Yep.
Does anybody think anything about giving them a smaller amount now just for promotional use only?
I don't think we can at this point.
Probably not 23. I mean, because in 23, you have committed, I think, 166,000 already.
But approving an earmark with the AR, you know, police and the fire. %, we didn't do it right away. But when it came time to do it, we then did. At least maybe the question wouldn't be out there. That's all.
Yeah.
So
You can tell I'm
So
supporting.
like 10% this year, the bottom line would have been like $12,000. Which is a good start. I mean, for us to at least know that and then have that kind of in our back pocket wouldn't be bad.
So, Jessica, is there, I mean, we as a committee can agree that we'll earmark a percentage, but I think that's something that we'd have to, I don't think we can just make that motion off of this item. So I think we'll just have to circle back on that one.
Okay. Well, right, and so I brought this to you because you had requested it at this meeting, and so I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't delinquent on the requests and what was happening, so.
Absolutely appreciate, because this is exactly what at least I was looking for. We'll figure out the best way to help support that, you know, when you guys are at least in 24 to help the market, and then once you're up and running, definitely.
Thank you so much.
So it's just a great thing to have a place to start. So thank you.
Yep.
You have to motion anything on that, or? So, Jessica?
April?
Yeah. Okay. Knights of Columbus.
My name is Terry Pishka. I'm at 1806 Perry Drive in Rothschild. This Knights of Columbus bowling tournament, this is an annual tournament. It goes back to 1917. This is the fifth time that, this tournament's been held in the Wausau area in the last 40 years. Traditionally, this was a tournament that it took 10 to 12 years to get on the slot to hold this tournament. And over the years, it really has become a tournament that is held at premier bowling alleys. Obviously, Dale's is one of the premier sites in the state. You don't have to worry about two cities or two bowling alleys. Very easily can handle it all for us. Our goal has been 700 bowlers. We have 520 that are already booked. This was the discount weekend, and traditionally about 20% of the teams are procrastinate, never get in on time. So our estimate of 700 is probably going to be more like 600. We seem to, I don't know what it is, but once you get north of Rylander, you can't seem to get people to participate. A lot of our people come from Green Bay, the Valley, Madison, La Crosse, Des Moines, Pate. 100 bowlers local. What you refer to as local was within 90 miles. And we have about 100 bowlers of that 600 that are within this area. So most of the people coming from the south bowling at 10 o'clock or a noon shift, some will come in on Friday nights. A lot of them come in for Saturday night. And what we were looking for, I had a budget of $5,500 to run this tournament. My printing costs were a little understated. It's probably gonna be closer to 6,000. And we were looking to cover our host fee, cost us $1,000 to put this tournament on with our state organization. And the print cost, we have to put out a advertising booklet that is, the quotes I have on it are $2,175. Let's see if there's any. We anticipate that of the, which originally I had 700 bowlers, probably is going to come through more like 600, that the spectators is another 50% of that. So we were looking at 1,050. It's probably going to be in the 900, some range of people that come. And basically would be the 5, we're anticipating the 5 motels that are in the Weston area because of the bowling alley being there, and because we're right in the middle of the ski season. We're running this tournament from February 18th through the 26th of March. It's the ski hill that pretty much takes up a lot of the hotels in the Wausau area.
Thank you, Mr. Pisco. I don't see any problem with the paperwork. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the grant request of 2,000 to the Knights of Columbus for the Knights of Columbus State Bowling Tournament.
Second.
A motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda. Taste of Globe Bloom Fest. Is that you, Mr. White? You come back up here?
I thought,
No,
They're on
Zoom, yeah.
That's who that is.
Hello.
Just people that like to watch the.
Hi.
Well, hello. We're in Florida, so thanks for letting us do this by Zoom. So otherwise we wouldn't be able to make it.
Well, thank you for making the call.
Yeah. Well, we are pretty excited about our event. It went great. We had over 100,000 people there and 44 balloons, and everyone seemed happy. And we handed out over 1,000 cards with the Weston information on the back of the trading card. And we got our GEM grant last year, and we are in the process of applying for the second year. Jody McGuire and I are working on that right now. That looks very promising for us. We've gotten a lot of in-kind donations. So we're actually going for more money this year, which would be even better. Last year we had filled the Fairfield, and we're expecting to fill it again this year. The estimated room nights, 220, I don't always know how many pilot rooms get booked. We book about 60 rooms ourselves. And then the pilots have a link to the Fairfield and a couple other hotels, but they book their own rooms. I know that it's at least double of what we book, because one pilot in particular books 4 extra rooms just for himself. So we do fill the Fairfield, and that is our expectation this year. I have been working with Mary there, and we're working on that as we speak. We also provided the shuttle service from your town hall, and I hear good words about that all the time. It sounded like it was heavily used. I don't know the exact numbers from the busing company because they don't track that. But I've heard from a lot of people that used it, and they were so thankful to have it, even though we have a tremendous amount of parking. We had great weather again, so everything went off without a hitch, knock on wood. Hopefully it happens again in 2023. At the end of the event, we had some bad news. The owner of the 90 acres across the street from the event that we used for parking put it up for sale. So we actually thought that was the end of Taste and Glow. And it was a pretty sad day, but then we were thinking and trying to work through some things with that. And we have worked out a deal that we can use it again this year. And then we would be purchasing it after the event. So we are going to be making $1 million investment in this event. We've been really fortunate that the community businesses have been very supportive of this event. Last year, between you guys and everyone else, we raised $160,000 in money because it's a very expensive event to put on. So thankfully, the event was paid for before it started. And so we're hoping that that's going to be the case this year because we need it more than ever. And then the gate money would be used for a down payment on that land, and we'll make improvements on that land and actually probably do additional events there. I have a lot of ideas spinning in my head. So there's endless possibilities once we have the parking situation taken care of. So it was our bad news, good news. At least then we'll have some control and we can ensure the longevity of the event. But obviously that is a humongous commitment on our part. Every penny that we made from the gate money, we donated back to the nonprofits. So every year we start out with no money. We gave over $44,000 last year. This year we're anticipating raising the admission fee a little bit, and we're going to do a better job collecting it. Last year they just came in a carpet of people and we couldn't keep up, but we're going to do better this year because we have to in order to purchase that property. So we are requesting the $10,000 again that you generously gave us last year. We did give you a balloon sponsorship and took care of the sponsorship on the shuttle service. And that would be our expectation again this year, that the balloon sponsorship, we do a lot of marketing for that with television, radio, the website. Last year we had, in the 90 days leading up to the event, we had 250,000 people visit our website. And those are real numbers because right now I'm getting about 100 a day, which is nowhere near that number. So we know people are seeking us out. And then we also had over 250,000 people we reached with our Facebook page and had over 114,000 engagements on our Facebook posts. So that's a pretty impressive number that we're starting to reach out further. And Jody and I discussed how we want to reach out beyond Wisconsin this year. I have pilots coming from all over the country. According to my website, as well as the CVB's reports, we were hitting virtually every state in the US. And obviously there was a higher concentration in Illinois, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin. So we've decided with our GEM application for the second year that we're gonna spend funding in Northern Illinois and Minnesota. We do get a lot of overnight travelers, but why not let them know about it and get familiar with the area? It is actually our intent within the next 4 or 5 years that we are going to be the Albuquerque of
The Midwest.
The Midwest, yes. Albuquerque has, Balloon Fiesta has an economic impact of $189 million. Could we handle that? No, but we can still get bigger, and especially with that land acquisition, and really make this a destination area for anyone that's looking for something different, family related, and lots of fun. I mean, everyone has smiling faces when they're at the event. So we're pretty proud to be a part of it. And we're pretty excited about, looking to the future and ensuring its viability where it's located right now, because it just works out wonderful. So.
Thank you. Any comments? It was a great event. Really glad you guys went out there and pushed through. I understand some of the details behind the move to get out to Satine, but you guys done a great job. It's just fantastic, and I know everybody really enjoys it. It's been a really good success.
I have a couple questions. So, I just want to state, very big event, brings in hotel rooms. I want to state that right off the bat. But first off, we're asking for 10 grand. marketing as your expenses was 10 grand. We already got 10 grand approved from Rimon. I see another 10 grand is going to Wausau, so that should be 30 grand. That's basically marketing. But their expenses was 10 grand last year for marketing. Where's the, does it need to be 10 grand? I guess is my question.
Well, here's a couple things.
Especially because we did also just approve 2 grand for the same weekend for baseball tournament.
Oh, well, I don't think they were the same. Well, maybe, I don't know. We do get over 100,000 people. So if you look at it from a 10 cents a person point of view, I guess it's not a bad deal. With the GEM grant, because we're in the second year, we only get 50% of what we request. So for every dollar we spend, they will spend. So if it were 10,000, we can now spend 20,000 on marketing. So it is a good thing to have because it can increase our volume of marketing, I guess, for our outreach and all that. It is a very expensive event to put on, and you know, sometimes events end when they can't afford it, to be perfectly honest. We're trying to make it viable by increasing the admission fee. But once again, this year I have no money. I don't even have $1, to be perfectly honest, other than Rib Mountain, what they paid me. So that's where we're at with it.
Yeah, in short, they're gonna spend more money on marketing this year, so. Like we're gonna input the markets that they need to, you know how I talked about some of the markets from the outside that, you know, are impacting for Weston. We're gonna give the Taste and Glow, you know, these are places to run.
What kind of dollars will be coming out of the CBD? I mean.
Well, the dollars that you give the CVB goes to us to, Jody's on the newly formed board of the Taste and Glow. And so she's Nancy's right-hand person.
No, the question was how much will the CVB give? If Weston gives 10 out of our account, what would the CVB give?
Even Nancy with the Taste and Glow will also be applying for the Sports Authority grant.
Yep.
And then Tim and I have discussed
what kind of dollars?
Well, for the Sports Authority, they can apply up to $10,000 for that.
Okay, so up to 10. And then what other asks in the area, like Wausau or Rib Mountain?
Rib Mountain
Rib Mountain gave?
Yeah, I thought so.
10 grand and
Yeah.
also there's still.
Rib Mountain gave 10 last year, okay. Did Wausau give any? Wausau?
Yes. They
What?
gave 10,000.
They did 10, okay,
They
good.
gave 10,000.
Good. No, it's good to hear
Yeah, no,
sometimes and not
Oh,
just our ask is, you know.
Oh, yeah.
No,
yeah.
no.
If you.
Rothschild.
He's doing Rothschild too?
Yep.
They gave last year and they are talking about giving more this year because I didn't provide a shuttle service. I
Okay.
didn't feel it was fair that you and Rib Mountain gave me 10,000 and they gave me 1,500 last year to sponsor a regular shaped balloon, and they couldn't afford anymore. But this year I did talk to him and I am approaching him. And, you know, my mantra is we may be a bigger community, but we are not. We are a small community. I want everyone's buy-in, whether it's a business, whether it's a nonprofit. That's why we help everyone. I mean, that is our goal. We want that feeling of community, and we make sure that funding stays here, whether it's a local food vendor or a craft vendor. We didn't want the out-of-staters to come, and we don't let them come. We want it to be beneficial to not just the village of Weston, but your hotels, your restaurants, everything. We want everyone to benefit from it. So, and that has always been why we took it over.
Those are good numbers. I mean, those are good asks. And it sounds like there's participation in the whole area, so that's good.
Oh, yeah.
And as we followed up on the report of last summer's event, we showed a $5.75 million impact in the Marathon County, and Weston directly got $725,000 of a direct impact. So you made 75 to $10 on your return.
So the CVB last year gave what? they can go up to 10 this year, but what did the CDB give last
The
year?
Sports Authority gave 5,000.
5,000?
And then we also did a lot of in-kind marketing.
Okay.
Our website transformed the week of
The
the
Sports
event.
Authority is getting the money from our 45. So our direct 45, no, actually we do 70, but 45 stays with the CBB, and then 25 goes into our hold account, and then 30 is used indiscriminately, whatever Weston wants, right? Okay, so that came out of your 45%, 5,000, okay?
They
And I-
also sponsored a balloon for 1,500.
Right.
What's that?
We also sponsored a balloon.
Okay. Okay. All right.
That's your question.
And for our GEM grant this year, Jody and I are requesting $80,000 from the state. They can only let us have 50% of that. So we have to pay $40,000 to get $40,000 out of the state. And we're going for the brass ring. Last year we got 30,000. I really feel very strongly after our conversations that we will get that 40,000 from the state. But we'll use the city of Wausau. They give 10,000. It can only be used for marketing. So we do the matching with that, with their investment. So it is a good program.
We have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion to approve 10,000 for the Taste and Glow Balloon Festival for the annual Taste and Glow Balloon Fest. We have a second.
Sure, I'll second it.
Anything in discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Good job. What's the degree, how does it,
Thank you so much.
what's the temperature?
Oh, well, we had 70 degrees today and we're supposed to be 74 tomorrow. Yay.
Oh.
So is it too late to cut their money then?
Yeah, boom.
Things like that, that's.
No. Hey, I'm giving up my warm weather for you.
Yeah, I know. Enjoy.
All right, next on the agenda is.
All right, thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you. The
Thank you.
Wisconsin State High School Bowling Tournament, March 4th, 5th, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Hi, Dale, from Weston, Lanes, 5902 Schofield Avenue. The high school state bowling tournament travels into only 3 communities in the state of Wisconsin because it's a very, very large event. It's held on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Unlike a lot of other people, the only thing that we ask for in our grants are host right fees and advertising costs. If you look at our budget, we take in a lot of money, and we do the same thing with the other state tournaments that we have. We take in a lot of money, but we also displace a lot of our customers during the course of the time. This thing basically comes in and runs all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. So the money that we make basically just offsets what we normally lose. So again, it's a little bit different because we have the Bowling Centers Association of Wisconsin that runs the tournament. And basically we get paid for our lineage and get paid for food and beverage. And then they ask us for a host right fee, and they also ask us for some advertising in their booklet. Very lucrative event. A lot of good bowlers, a lot of good bowling teams from all around the state. Between the 3 days, we basically will have about 550 room nights. Length of stay is usually 2 nights because they do make them come in on Friday and Saturday. And the estimated number of people in the rooms is 2 to 4 people, correct, John? So a lot of people coming into the area. Because they run a bunch of shifts, the other thing that's really nice is that we can't handle everything that goes on. They have to go to the restaurants, they have to go to the gas stations, they go to the grocery stores. And again, if you see what happens in our parking lot that weekend, we basically have to have parking lot attendants out there because there's so many people there. Again, a great event. The KCs are taking off that week so that we can run this. We actually had this booked ahead of time. And as I said, generally, we're only looking to cover the expenses of what they're asking us for as far as host rate and advertising. Any questions? I too have to be at another meeting, so I'm sorry I can't hang around.
Looking for a motion? For a second?
Thank you.
Thanks, Dale.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Who seconded that?
Okay, Mr. White, we're back to you.
Erica's actually
Yeah.
on,
She's on Zoom now.
she's on Zoom.
Jessica, you got,
GG's.
GG's?
oh, what's it? Erica, that's what we're looking for? Online or? Hello, Erica? We can't hear you.
Hi,
Erica?
sorry. Last minute scheduling to take a trip to Madison for my kids. So,
Okay.
so our event is our third annual Glow Fun Run Walk. This has grown since we started it 2 years ago. What we have found over the last, especially last year, it's actually more than just the motels. So we're having people come from definitely more than 90 miles away, a lot of Madison, Milwaukee, Chicago, Duluth, and people are turning this into a family reunion type event. So more than the motels, what we're finding is a lot of members came that Saturday early because our event's a night event. It's one of the more unique events and really the only Glow Fun Run type event that happens in North Central Wisconsin right now that I'm aware of. But they came Saturday and then they shopped for their outfits, or they went out to eat with their families, or they stayed for brunch the following Sunday. So that was really interesting when talking to families. A big thing that we want to target this year is because, yes, the teams, we had 44 teams last year, 27 of them were actually families. So like I created a team just because obviously I want to support because my son attends the Playhouse. But we want to target this year specifically outside of the family teams because we know this is a unique event that is a little ridiculous. You know, there's grown men in tutus and glow attire, and we have this foam machine, and we know it's kind of this tailgating, wholesome fun. So how do we get and broaden the reach outside of just like our families, which granted, if we have that many families that are recruiting almost 700 people who come to this, looking outside of that. So our biggest things, we always have, WAOW has been a phenomenal sponsor for us. So we get a commercial that they promote prior to this event, and Midwest Communications. And that's all stuff that we've coordinated in kind. Midwest Communications and Rusty and Dave Calloway and everything are great fans of ours as well. And they do radio broadcasting media coverage for us for our event. And we've already spent some money on the chamber calendar for Wausau, putting the ads in. We're looking at city pages, doing some additional ad and promoting, and a bigger Facebook promotional thing, because again, our event's unique in regards to it being that Glow Fun Run that doesn't exist out here. So we're expected to increase our participation up to about 750, but we have this secret amount that our goal is to have 1,000 people in attendance for this. I mean, we always want to think big. This is our biggest fundraiser of the year for us as a nonprofit. So we raised $68,000 last year. And it also is obviously our biggest expense because we do put a lot into it and we want to expand along our route. We work really closely with the village and Valerie, and she sends us a list of all of the residents along the route. And what was really cool last year is, so we sent them a letter just indicating, like, again, we're a unique event. So like if you have runners at 8 p.m. coming by your house in this weird attire, don't freak out, right? And And we wanted them to participate. So what was really, really cool was we had runners come back because even though our run's more about the fun, we do have dedicated 5Kers that show up and we have a clock for them. And we had people come back and were like, this was awesome. Like there were people having bonfires out in their yard. When we came through, they got up and they cheered. And it was just a really cool way to have the community around our route participate as well. Which runners were like, we've never seen that before. So we're going to expand on that and really, really like, okay, if you're going to be out in your yard, encouraging our runners or our walkers, let's take it one step further. Bring some lights out, make your residents glow. So it's kind of like an added feature for those walkers and runners because we do set up along the route to run through glow stations, and we are going to expand on that as well, just because that's what makes our event unique. But yeah, I guess any questions?
I've got a couple, Erica.
Yeah.
You're asking for 2,000. You get donations from, you've got a budget of 12,000 here for, if I'm reading this right, what it costs to put this together, but you're asking us for 2,000. So where does the rest come from?
So this event last year, I think we pulled in about $28,000 in sponsorship that counted towards that 68 that we raised. And so Connexus Care has routinely been a champion sponsor. We get local businesses, Elite Auto Care, CI Pediatric Therapy Centers, Patriot Auto. I mean, we get local businesses also to sponsor that. They get certain, at a certain level, obviously they get their logo on the commercial for WAW. But what we're looking at spending the $2,000 specifically on is that marketing component. Again, reaching outside of just our families, because this is a fun event. So increasing the Facebook ads, the city pages ad, being able to also printing is ridiculous. Just being able to print a flyer, a digicopy, but that's what people see when they go to the coffee shops is those bulletin boards, and we kind of have a flashy flyer that we want to get out there. So that is where we would be looking at the 2,000 funds to go to.
Thank you. There's a Village of Weston's logo anywhere on those? I guess when your sponsorship is put out or anything is.
Yeah, so at a 2,000, and actually I was thinking about, because we requested 2,000 last year. So I was like, I didn't want to be greedy and ask for more. But now that I'm thinking of it, like, I think it's the $2,500 level that gets you on the flyer and gets you in the commercial. But the logo you get, either way, I share the logo on our webpage. So when people come in and they go to our webpage and our registration for the 5K, and it has a thank you to our sponsors, the tourism, the fancy new logo that you guys had that we got last year from Jody, that's put on our website so everyone sees that. And then at the event, we have specific big posters that we create of all of our sponsors with the logo. And then you get a banner. So banner placement at the event. So the logo is seen there. Obviously we do a Facebook. Our biggest, because it's free as a nonprofit, is Facebook. So we do an inclusive recognition of sponsorship there as well.
Thank you, Erica. One last question. Does Everest Metro work with you guys on those routes and everything when you guys hold this? I would imagine you do.
Yeah, we coordinate that because they have to be at 2 of the intersections to stop traffic. Okay. So yeah, we like our friends at Everest Metro.
Yeah, do they charge you anything for?
We do, but it's only because it's a 2-hour minimum.
Yeah.
And So like by the time the runners or walkers go through, they're not there the 2 hours. So we pay for 2 officers for 2 hours.
Okay. And does the village provide any sort of a traffic control or anything in addition to that, or is it all through the Everest Metro?
It's through the Everest, but the village, you guys give us, so part of additional like in-kind stuff, you give us a lot of the traffic cones, because parking can, that's one big worry of ours is, with that many people, we try to definitely encourage like, let's carpool because, you know, even though it's after hours at the Weston YMCA, that parking lot isn't all that big when it comes to 700 people.
No, it's
they end
fairly
up,
small.
huh?
No, it's fairly small. And I appreciate you. Would that be listed under other expenses, what you have to put in for Everest Metro and what the village here provides?
That would probably be under the other expenses, yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, just next year, if you could set that specifically for itself, that would help us a little bit. Just to understand what the costs are and having to do traffic control, things of that nature that Everest Metro and the village is assisting with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody have any comments?
I guess my question is, looking to see where the funds are gonna go. It says marketing, but a lot of it I see is newspaper, yard signs. Like you said, it's the city pages. I feel like that's more all local advertisement, not advertising to bring people to the area. Just kidding.
Well, Facebook would be outside of that. Like if you did a general Facebook ad, last year we had a lot of people outside of the area comment. And I guess that's something that I would also, last year, you know, like Jody helped guide us with this, but that's where I'm not a outside of Wausau, Wisconsin marketing person. So how do we reach those people knowing that we have this unique event? Like, are there other things besides, okay, the city pages, which we know are only going to reach the people in this area, right? And Midwest Communications in general does reach more than just the people in this area too, because they do broadcast on obviously 3 different stations. But that's where how do we reach those people who we know are already looking for, and part of it is it's a wholesome, fun tailgating atmosphere. So like knowing that this is a family event, bring your entire family. And that's stuff that I think I would definitely need probably Jody's help with, is looking at those type of marketing opportunities.
Tim, you had something?
Yeah. So it's great, Erica, that you're talking about this, because this year, as we've kind of solidified our direction as the CVB from being a marketing entity for this Visit Wausau, one of the things that we've been starting to do, and we're going to offer this on an ongoing basis, is to help with marketing strategy, best practices, how to do marketing outside of the area, you know. And so Erica will talk with you, and we've been to Gigi's and visited and love it. I think it's an awesome place, awesome concept. So, it speaks to the thing of, we want to be the experts at providing, Jody's doing that. And we've given advice to Taste and Glow and a couple of other organizations. I'm going to do a marketing and branding workshop with the CVA, the Center for Visual Arts, how they can pull in more people. And so we would offer that to Erica as well. So, but we just haven't pushed that out to the local stakeholders yet. But that's our intent this year.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Well, in the end too, like, because our participants, we serve all of North Central Wisconsin. So we have families as far north as Land O'Lakes that come down for programming, Anago, Medford. And if we reach more people outside of our current database, the hopes is then they know someone who has a loved one with Down syndrome, or because we're inclusive, we allow other diagnoses to attend, that also just spreads the awareness of us, because even just our programming. You know, like yesterday, we had our adult programming and parents get to drop off their adult with a disability, Down syndrome, whatever it may be, autism, for programming, and they go out to eat. Because you know what, as a special needs mom, you don't get that opportunity often. So they're gonna take it when they have an hour and a half. And the ultimate goal would be is like, okay, this is our event. We wanna reach and bring people here, but in the end, okay, maybe that person who's like, oh my gosh, let's check out this event. This is crazy, you know? Well, I know my neighbor 2 doors down and they have a kiddo with Down syndrome. So like, you know, selfishly, ultimately, yes, we want to grow this event, but then it also just gets our name out there because we know we're not serving as many people as we should be based on the statistic of 1 in 691 births result in a Down syndrome diagnosis. So in the end, hopefully our database for participation grows as well through this event.
No,
And how we
I
market it.
appreciate that, Erica. I know people that drive a couple hours to do a 5K just because it's something that they love to do. So I don't think it's outside of our commission here to for you to ask this grant. But what I would like to do is I'd like to change your 2,000 to the 2,500. And I'd like to make a motion.
Yeah.
The grant.
I'm sorry, I didn't even realize, I was literally sitting here going, I can't change the application now. Oh my God, I should have put 25 because then you get
So,
on that flyer, your
yeah.
logo will be on the commercial.
So I'd like to move to approve a grant request, 2,500 to Jesus Playhouse for the 5K Glow Fun Walk.
Second.
Have any discussion?
So the extra 500 gets you more advertising.
It gets our advertising and gets our logo out there. And it might offset the cost of the operations if they have to utilize Village of Weston or EMPD. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you guys so much. And I encourage anyone who's there, stop in at the Playhouse sometime and see what we're all about. Okay,
Thank you, Erica.
thanks.
Okay, I think that's it.
Good timing.
Yep, policy issues, we don't have any on the board. Resolution ordinances, nothing. Future items, next meeting is April 17th, 2023 at 4:30 PM. Any remarks from staff? Mr. White, thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing this in. Any commission members? I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. You're adjourned.
Yes, you got it.
I was coming out the schedule. So something that I know. Finance leaders. Because they have to come back.
Oh my God. I can't get up.
Huh?